And we can hold this forum also elsewhere, but we are in a unique location. The arena in Verona has different gates, different entrances. It's a Roman amphitheater. It was opened when Jesus died on the cross. It's got the shape of an ellipse. It's got two foci. The ellipse has got two foci. So one cannot do without the other one. Otherwise, it would be a circle or any other shape. In these 2 days, we tried to think of this dualism, this duality. Economy promoting trust, economy promoting a dialogue of peace, avoiding war and promoting sustainable, inclusive development at the level or at the local level and the national level. We've had examples from Italy and Russia, but this interplay extends to the European Union and the EURASIAN economic unit. There have been revolutions, but, speaking of revolutions is a metaphor. A revolution usually means weapons, arms, but instead we are talking about controlling everything together. The regions, not just the economy, should have its role, should have their role. The arena in Verona was a place of organized violence. Now it's a place of art where life with its dramas is performed and the audience follows. So we wanted to stage an encounter here where we stage our lives, our dramas, the disaster of sanctions, counter-sanctions. At the same time, we have two people that I will introduce now. They live, one lives in Mongolia. We'll see how Mongolia develops its development, and then China, which has an increasing growth prospect, but it's quite scary. Somehow there was a fearful element in all this. Fear for G0, that is, that nobody governs change, but also G1, just one superpower, doesn't work. On the other hand, this situation might even lead to a war between China and the United States. It would be a disaster, but we're also afraid of G2, China and the States governing the world according to their strategic interests. Well, this is not the case, actually, but there's a deep fear. This forum, therefore, intends to broaden horizons, promote inclusion, to avoid that when we leave this room, we have new prospects, new ideas, new values. Around the arena of Verona, there were two battles between Constantine and Maxentius. Constantine won, and one of the victories in Verona is still represented by the Arch of Constantine in Rome. So how shall we govern and control inclusion and sustainable development? The first two speakers will help us draw conclusions and show what their countries think to promote common good. I'll introduce the ambassador of Mongolia to Russia, Delgerva Banzrach. She is the ambassador of Mongolia in the Russian Federation. The floor to you.
Thank you. This year's Eurasian Economic Forum has brought together more than 1,300 delegates from more than 50 countries. The delegates represent the business leaders, political and public institutions, diplomatic community, research field, and media. I am very pleased to note that number of participants representing countries in the region has been steadily increasing. The motto of this year's Eurasian Forum is Economy of Trust and Diplomacy of Business from the Atlantic to the Pacific. We delegates have deliberated over the development models of the countries in the region of Greater Eurasia, importance of cooperation in many sectors such as energy, industry, technology, infrastructure, agriculture, and agro-industry to overcome development challenges encountered by many countries. For example, my native country, Mongolia, as it's sandwiched between two emerging important players in the Eurasian space, Russia and China, could offer its strategic geographic position and vast natural resources for regional development. We have discussed business environment in this vast region, new businesses opportunities, models of interstate interaction, and economic cooperation between the countries of the region. We participants have touched upon the development of the current geopolitical environment and the political perspectives for cooperation for the region laying from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Many of us have highlighted in the course of the discussions and deliberations that trust and diplomacy are the key ingredients for the long-term cooperation between the countries and businesses to spur growth and development in continents from the Lisbon to Vladivostok and global economy as whole. And I would like to extend our gratitude and thanks to our organizers, Association Konovsky Eurasia, and my special thanks go to Professor Faliko for his dedication and efforts in arranging and making the Eurasian Economic Forum as an important platform for discussions, dialogue, and networks. Thank you, grazie, spasibo, bayratla.
Do la parola adesso a John Zhang.
Now the floor to John Zhang, Secretary General of the International Technology Transfer Network, which is based in Beijing. It's present in 12 cities in China and also present in Ljubljana, but also in Milan. The floor to you to draw some conclusions and add some additional elements for reflection.
Hello. Okay. Thank you very much, Chair. And your honorific chairman, Professor Faliko of the Forum, and Your Excellency, Mr. Ambassador. I'm highly appreciated to be invited to join this Verona Forum, as well as to be the partner of the forum. So actually, I'd love to give a response to several questions mentioned by the moderator before. And firstly, about this Eurasian cooperation. That is just in my organization in past 2 days. Firstly, I will just have to congratulate, to this forum. It's really a big, I think, improvement compared to last session with, the qualification of the speakers and all of the opinions just shared, strategic thinking shared on this forum. It's really just very much impressive to us. And besides, just in my opinion, I think Eurasian collaboration will be another just in the same concept in China, there's as the One Belt One Road initiative. This is the different vision to look at the collaboration, and I think there's a lot of just presentations. The talks in those 2 days mentioned about the situation between China and the U.S. The trade war and the conflict. Actually, just in my understanding, the Chinese people do not just looking forward a G1 world, definitely, and we believe the multi superpower or just a multi constructed world will be definitely just more benefit to the economic growth, not only limited in China but to the rest of the world. So that's why we think that if we back to the concept of the Eurasian Union or just Eurasian Commission, that it means just in future there was more big potential for the Eurasian continental, maybe just by the close collaboration with all of the Eurasian economies, and so can just create a new generation, so can just have the major economic growth power back to the world center, which is in the past 1,000 years is just located in this Eurasian region. Yeah. And then as another just a response to the revolution, the revolution actually just at the current situation will be not only limited just to the traditional way by just the battle of just 6 wars. I think technology or just high tech will be also just kind of a new revolution. Like for example, people should know this in China we have significant improvement for digital economies that we also named just new economy in China with those just very famous China just internet companies, for example like Alibaba, like Tencent. And actually, according to the calculation, actually in last year we are ranked number 2 in the world for the GDP, about $12 trillion US. But almost more than 30% is contributed by the new economy. That means internet plus this economies. So that really just can create a lot of just new jobs, not only just limited to the high-tech companies, but also to all of the just traditional small and medium-sized companies. I mean, there's if even just one, there's professionals, for example, in a very special field with a very special experience and historical, maybe arts, maybe there's high quality manufacturers, they can also promote himself on this new technology platform. That is the new power, or just a new driven by the just high tech from according to China practice. I think it will be definitely just. That's why I think from the vision of China, we will definitely just insist the globalization collaboration, because right now both the technology collaboration or this innovation collaboration as well as the digital economy collaboration, we need an open platform. We need more and more this economy just to join and work together, and cross-border collaboration. That not only limited to cross-border of the country, cross-border. We also need cross-border over the technology fields. We also just needed a cross-border from the different industry fields. Maybe finance to the manufacturers. The internet companies, maybe with traditional industries. We all need just integrated. The human intelligence. The human creations. For one major focus to promote the digital or maybe just new economic growth. So that's why we think it's very much meaningful just for this VERONA forum just hosted here, just to try to find, to create a mutual exchange among Eurasian economies. So this is my operation in the past 2 days. Yes, generally is my understanding. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Passo la parola al Presidente Antonio Falco.
Now I give the floor to Antonio Falco, and I wish to thank him very much for offering us the opportunity to spend these 2 very interesting days. Maybe you can tell us something interesting from your perception behind our back, if you like. Well, I don't know if I can say something really creative, but I'll try to draw some conclusions from these 2 days. Well, first and foremost, I wish to thank very much all delegates and moderators. I think that what we heard was really highly creative. Today and tonight as well, we heard a number of extremely interesting and stimulating considerations. I wish also to thank all of those that made this forum possible. I'm thinking of the innumerable people, young people that gave their major contribution to the organization effort. Without trying to sound too over-optimistic, let me say that we didn't expect to have about 1,300 participants in this forum from about 40 countries, but this is what happened. Next year, we hope to receive other people from other countries as well. I'm thinking of Turkmenistan, Mongolia, and we are quite sure that representatives of other businesses will join us. And I'm also thinking of Azerbaijan. So I think we'll, on the one hand, consolidate the consensus to the Eurasian Economic Union that now includes only 5 countries, and on the other hand, we would like to manage to involve with the help of Zhangzhang, China, and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization as a fundamental part of the BRIC countries. We feel that this would be extremely important because it would mean putting together projects and interests in this great Eurasia from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean. On the other hand, we also have to work hard to make sure that many businesses in Germany, in France, and in Italy join our efforts. So our task, although it may appear a dream, is to involve as many countries as possible. When I say countries, I'm referring, of course, not only to politicians, but also businesses. This is a great challenge, but this is what we really want to do. Next year should really be the real year for a dialogue between Europe, that is now partly isolated by the difficult relations caused by sanctions, and I'm thinking of Russia and the Eurasian Economic Union. So we need to enhance and further develop this dialogue. And we hope to be able to attract here the real European policymakers. Europe is now isolated. Russia, in spite of these attacks, is politically and economically solid thanks to its alliances with China. and other Eurasian countries. So our task is to find a way of meeting both interests. That will mean implying efforts that will require investments for $20 trillion. If we take into account, in addition, all the plans of Russia and Eurasia, that will exceed $30 billion. We cannot lose that development opportunity. Europe is a continent that has got a great potential, but it must learn to become fully integrated in this new area of development. We talked about sanctions, but I want to close reiterating that these sanctions must be annulled. And the very message sent to us by President Putin was a request for us, for business diplomacy, to exert all possible pressures in this direction. So I want to make again my appeal in this sense. On December 13th and 14th, at least those countries that have already expressed an opinion against these sanctions, including Italy, will have to take a step forward and give a negative vote if this can help interrupting the periodic renewal of sanctions. We hope that these countries, including the new Italian government, will be able to peacefully convince other European countries to follow suit without any conflict. However, if a negative vote is negative, I really want to renew my appeal to all businessmen to make pressure for this to be used as the last option. Let me just close by inviting you to the 12th Eurasian Economic Forum in Verona that will be held in this same building on the 24th and 25th of October 2019. Among our partners, we also have Ross Congress that helps us organize the Italian and Chinese delegates' participation in the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum. So I again invite you to take part in the St. Petersburg event from the 6th to the 8th of June 2019. Thank you again for your attention.
Le sfide non mancano, sono opportunità e tra qualche anno.
These are challenges and opportunities at the same time. In the next years, we'll also have the challenge of promoting Africa's involvement. So I thank you again and have a nice journey back. Thank you.